So it's April 2022, and this is season 2 of our native plant garden tours. Last year, I got a ton of new native plants. I planted some things from seed, I got some seedlings, and I also did some transplanting. So this year, I want to do a video every single month just to show you how these plants are growing over the whole growing season. So let's get right to it. Thanks so much for watching. So here is our Scarlet Beebalm. You can see these dried stalks here. These are from last year, and that we only had maybe 3, 4, 5 stalks. And now look at how much it has spread in just one season. We've got some all over here, all down here. So we're gonna have a ton more of Scarlet Beebalm in the garden, and that's exactly what I wanted it to do. So this is a member of the mint family. So it does spread really, really quickly through runners underground. So keep that in mind if you're planting it in the garden. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm really happy to see this. Here's our obedient plant. Again, you can see all of the stalks here that I've left from last year. Now you can see here, let's see if we can get a close up in one of these stalks. So as you can see here, the stalks are hollow. So it's really likely that there'll be like little bees, baby bees, bee larvae in these stalks. So I want to leave these as long as I can. And then my plan is actually to snip them off after the temperatures warm up a bit and then just lay them on the ground kind of behind this plant so that they are not, I won't actually disturb any bees that might emerge later than what I might expect. So that's my plan. And that'll only just help with the mulch in the ground as well, and as the plant kind of degrades over time. So there's the obedient plant. So here is our smooth blue aster. It's got some pretty little shoots that are coming out now. And again, these are the stalks from last year, which I'll leave for a little while longer. And yeah, it's doing really well. This is not growing very, very fast. I had a small seedling that I planted 2 falls ago, and it's still quite small. So it's not really taking over too crazily, but it's still going to be a happy plant in this part of the garden. Here's our Serviceberry. We planted it last year, transplanted it last year. Didn't have any berries last year, but really hoping for some this year. As you can see, it's got some leaf buds coming. So hopefully we'll see some pretty blossoms coming this spring as well, and maybe even get some berries in the summer. So here's our pussy willow plant. So this is the plant that I transplanted. I made a little video about that, and I don't know. I feel like the bunnies might have eaten off all the new growth, and it didn't blossom and give me any catkins this year. So really not sure what to expect. I'm really hoping we'll see some leaves and that this will be happy later on, and maybe next year we'll get some catkins. But I will record it and show whether or not this was a win or perhaps a little bit of a failure, which happens in gardening. So we will just keep an eye out for whatever happens next. So you will see in the videos to come. So not one of my native plants. This is actually an invasive species. This is garlic mustard. So I just wanted to show you this. Just if you see this growing in your yard, you might want to just snip it back or pull it out. Apparently, if you pull it out and disturb the seeds that might be in the ground beside these plants, then the seeds can see the sun and then grow happily after that. So you might want to just snip it. But anyhow, this is garlic mustard, and in the early parts of spring. And if you don't want a forest of it like I clearly am going to have, then you can get rid of it now if you'd like. So this is our Spiderwort. Last year we put in an ornamental fence right over here, and when we did that, this plant got totally smushed. So I really wasn't sure if it was going to survive, but look, it's doing quite fine, and hopefully we'll get some pretty flowers from it in the next couple of weeks as well. Here are my Trilliums just starting to show themselves. I was a little worried that these guys were hiding still, but I'm really happy to see them coming out this spring. This is a little late in the year. I was expecting to see them earlier, so I'm really happy to see these guys, and hopefully we'll see some blooms soon as well. Here is our Foamflower. We've got 2 little patches going on over here in the shadier part of my garden. And clearly it is not looking very pleased at all in this kind of rusty burgundy color. But I do see some green coming through. So I have lots of hope for this plant. Also too, if you can see in here, let's see if we can see. There we go. There's all sorts of little tiny bloom stalks starting. So I think that this is just totally normal, this color. If you know and you're a foam flower expert, then please be sure to let me know if this is what I should be looking for each year. But considering the flowers are coming, I think we're going to be okay. Here is our Canada anemone. We planted this last fall. This is the transplant. Now, I did plant a whole bunch of seeds kind of over here, so we will see if those guys sprout as well, but I'm really happy to see this blooming. I have heard that this grows really well in shade gardens, and really hoping that it kind of takes over as like a ground cover in this part of my garden. Here is our New England Aster. It looks really, really happy. It's got lots of nice green growth. And then you can see here that we've got these stalks from last year, which I'm just going to leave on here for a while now until the temperatures warm up, just in case there are any little baby bees growing in these stalks. And then we'll do the chop and drop and put it all in the ground as well so that it becomes part of the mulch. Here is our butterfly weed. This clearly is not a pretty spectacle in my garden right now, but I've left all these stalks because these stalks are actually hollow as well. So likely that there will be some baby bees in there. So I don't want to disturb them. I'm just going to leave it here. And butterfly weed, I find, tends to peek out of the ground a lot later than other plants in the garden. So not worried. I know this one is going to come back with a vengeance and be beautiful in the next couple of weeks or months or so. I am super excited to see this wild Columbine peeking out right now. We planted this as a transplant last year, and I just love Columbine. So when I heard that there was a wild Columbine variety that was native to my area, I was super psyched. I also know that this is a really good spreader. So it spreads underground, but then it also spreads via seeds. So I'm really excited to kind of see this little guy perhaps turn into a bigger patch in this part of my garden. Here's the start of our Prairie Smoke plant, and this little guy is in our boulevard garden. So you might hear some cars going by. Also, it's a little windy out here, but yeah, it's doing really, really well. So this is a new one to me, so really excited about this guy moving forward and seeing if he blooms this year. Here is a sneak peek of our Cardinal Flower plant. It's definitely got some pretty green in there. I had to move some of the leaves around, but I don't want to move them too much just in case there's any critters in there still waking up from their winter sleep. But yes, we definitely have some life, so I'll give an update soon. So this is our Lanceleaf Coreopsis, and it is really, really close to the road, as you can see. And so I'm really, really happy to see it doing so well after all of the snow that was on top of it this winter and the salt that I know that definitely came from the road. It's really doing well. So fingers crossed we get some nice bright yellow flowers that apparently the pollinators really love. So I'm pretty sure, but not entirely sure, that this is evening primrose. So this is also in my boulevard garden, as you can see by cars going by. And so this is going to get lots of sun, and this seemed to do well after the winter as well. So obviously I was a little worried about the snow and the salt from the traffic and the road, but it seems to be coming up fine. Here's my prickly pear cactus. I'm super excited about this plant. It's very rare in Canada. I think it's one of the only few cactuses that survive our winters. I put one up here in this rock in a little kind of crevice there with some dirt, and then I put one down here by the base. And as you can probably hear by the cars going by, we're right near the road in the boulevard garden, so hopefully this little guy survives. It did get a paint job because the people who put in some indicators for our gas line didn't seem to care if they put some paint on my little cactus and my chicks and hens over here. So didn't please me very much on this, but hopefully it didn't do any harm to them, which I don't think it really did. So here's our blanket flower. I transplanted this one last year because it was clearly not getting enough sun and it was kind of reaching out towards the sun. So now this is in my boulevard garden, as you can see, and probably hear cars going by. And it's done really well over the winter and over the transplant. So I'm really excited. I love this plant with its bright yellow kind of daisy-like flowers with the bright orangey red in the center. They're just gorgeous. And I can't say the same about how happy this plant looks. This is my little indicator here for the dense blazing star, and I see no sign of life. So fingers crossed it's just a late one to emerge, kind of like the butterfly butterfly leaf, but we will keep an eye on it anyhow. I'll leave my indicators in there to make sure I know where it might be. So here we have our wild bee balm. This is the stalks left over from last year, and really it doesn't look like there's any signs of life on this plant either. So fingers crossed, something's still coming. Considering the red Scarlet Beebalm is so bright and green and looks so happy, I don't know what to expect with this, but we will see. We need to be patient at this time of the year. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found the video interesting and helpful. If you grow any of these native plants in your suburban space, or even if you grow it in a big, huge rural area and you have tips to share for us growing it in Suburbia, please feel free to share those tips in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you and we can all learn from each other. Thanks again for watching. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up and please subscribe if you'd like to see more.